Hello, everybody. In this presentation, I prefer to continue in English as we have many attendees from all around the world. I need to continue it this way, and I want to say sorry to all the Turkish attendees in this year. So today I'm going to talk about how we can use BigQuery for search engine optimization. Especially, we work together with many agencies and also large enterprises. We need to use non-Excel solutions to use the data efficiently. That's why we have to use the SQL. That's why today I want to make things more simplified for you and go through how we can use SQL for digital marketing purposes. So, my name is Yiğit. I'm working as a product manager at seo.do. I'm also founder of Zeo Agency. I was in this industry since 2006. I was starting with a small SEO blog in Turkey, which is one of the first Turkish SEO blogs, and then agency carrier, and now we are making SEO software. seo.do is specifically a rank tracker where it focuses for enterprises and large companies to make measurement in SEO efficiently. That's why I had to spend lots of time with SQL, and then I want to share some of my experiences with you. So let's talk about my agenda. So in this session, I don't want to really make you bored. So it is some sort of technical session, but I will try to make things as simple as possible by doing my best. That's why I have created many videos. I don't want to create a moment where you can say, okay, I'm out of this topic and I can't understand anything. I don't want you to say this. That's why we will go through step by step and make everything clear at your end. Let's start. And why do you need to learn SQL will be the first part, and where will you use it? And also I will talk about the Google Sheets new integration, where you don't need to write any SQL queries. You can just use Google Sheets, but process billions of rows without any cost. It has a very large free tier, so it's not a big deal for you. So as I said before, I don't want to make this session very technical. I want to make this more useful for you. That's why I will continue through 2 different case studies, and you can just follow these videos and then make your own BigQuery imports and the same analysis at your end. So don't worry about it. And let's get started. So the first thing first, it is not that much hard and you can do it. And when I talk with many juniors in this era, the topics like this, which is makes the people stressful as they can't feel ready to consume the topics like this. That's why it's not that much hard and we can do this together. So let's think about the routine of SEO consultants. So we are using lots of tools like Ahrefs, search metrics to see the changes in the market. And we are closely monitor the keywords by using rank trackers like seo.do. And we are also discovering the new trends, new keywords by using various different tools like Google Trends and some of SEMrush tools. And then we are also reporting those information to our managers. In some cases, it is CMO. In some cases, it is clients at the agency side. So that's why while doing this, we are collaborating with development teams, reading SEO blogs from different sources like SEO Reads and SparkToro Trending. But after then doing all these things, the most time-consuming thing is Excel, because we are using Excel for decision-making, actually. Excel is not only an analysis tool, but also helping us to decide better. That's why the world is changing. As you know, tools has no limits, and we will see in the next slides, in some campaigns, you can track up to millions of the keywords. So in our brain can have no limit, as scientists say. and the action items also has no limit. But when we get Excel as a blocker, it creates some sort of bottleneck. This is what they call in software engineering. When something blocks the whole life cycle, we are calling this as a bottleneck. So Excel is a real bottleneck for most of the marketers in here. That's why when we are blocked by Excel, we can't show our creativity in our brain because we can play with data freely. And then our action items are bounded by 1 million of maximum rows. But it's not only about the 1 million rows, and I will talk about this a bit later. So, like I said, SEO softwares are pushing their limits so high. So I get Wayfair as an example. Wayfair is one of the largest e-commerce sites in a specific vertical in USA, and Ahrefs is nearly tracking 10 millions of keywords for just Wayfair. So, and if I work for Wayfair and managing those data is not really easy. Most of the SEO consultants just focus for the most important keywords, but we are skipping lots of low-hanging fruits, especially in long-tail keywords. That's why having those keywords and those data in our hands and being able to use this data freely is a crucial thing for us. And let's remind the limits. Actually, Excel has 1 million rows and the Google Sheet is something like 5 millions. And BigQuery has no limits. So, but the working styles of those two different technology, databases and spreadsheets, are totally different. Databases are looking for a special syntax that you can describe the problems to them, but spreadsheets are just doing this more visually. So, in addition to this, to make a large analysis, at first, you need to have a powerful computer. And for the BigQuery, you don't need to have a powerful computer as it is a cloud-based solution. So, but the problem is that most of us don't know how to write SQL, and most of us even don't know how to collect the data and make it ready for inserting to the BigQuery. That's why I will start with an easy one, search analytics. But at first, let me explain why do you need to analyze more than 1 million rows. For example, if you are competing with a large competitor like Amazon or Wayfair, those competitors just have millions of keywords. That's why working together with them force you to do it. Actually, it is how I start to prepare myself for this topic. And also, if you have 4 or 5 large competitors in your niche, at least each of them will track 200,000 keywords. That's why it might be a challenge for you. And also, you want to maybe learn the whole SEO strategy of your competitors, where they bring the traffic and how they are ranking, which search features they are ranked for, and in historical way, you can do many things. And the getting the data for them is not easy, but we have prepared many scripts and automations, and you will see in this slide we have prepared 2 different tools exclusively for this presentation, and that's why I will help you to fix this problem too. You also need to have maybe reusable database for your next analysis. So in this case, you will just have database in your hand. You don't store this in your computer, and you can always connect this and then get your own data. So also it's a very remarkable skill in your CV. For example, I was working as a recruitment part of Zeo Agency before, and we were very impressed for the candidates with skills and the technical skills, especially in SQL. So, and most important thing is that we are doing lots of regular thing in our daily work routine. And as an ADHD person, I want to get some fun. That's why I'm looking for a challenge. That's why it looks like a fun for me. I hope that it's not just for me only. So, like I said, it's not a rocket science. We will use the tools that is integrated with Google Sheets, and we will just write a bit of SQL. But if you want to go further, you can just write your own SQL queries. So let's get started with two different case studies, like I said, and I will do it for to cover all the attendees actually. Maybe if you have a small site, but you don't have millions of data to play with, I will make you believe that you have million rows of data. As your search console might create more data than your thoughts. Let's start with the search console problem at first, and then we will go with the market analysis software too. So to extract the data from search console, which is not a very easy job, you need to use APIs. This is not something that you can do without writing Python, which is a very deep topic, and which is, I think, that is not your direct responsibility. It will make your life easier, but you don't need to know how to use the Google APIs to be a successful SEO. So don't get it wrong. The Twitter has a great hype on it, but I don't believe that it is just tied of programming knowledge. If it's so, we will have many computer engineers as a pioneer of SEO world. So it is something I think different. That's why we have created a new tool, which is called SEO Man. Like I showed to you, you can just install this by writing pip3 install SEO Man into your terminal. Terminal is something that you can find in your Mac computers installed, and the Linux ones too. In the Windows, you can just use WSL, which is the same terminal, which brings same terminal environment to the Windows. So after then making this happen, you can just use the SEO Man. It comes from Superman, not something else. And you can just directly query the search console and download your own data. This is created by our own company, and which is open sourced, and you can freely use it and check the open source. This is something that you can trust. And also, in addition to that, you are not using our API keys directly to save your data too. As I have mentioned at the previous year at the Digitalzone, we have some problems with SEO Man, and so it's all fixed right now. And then you just need to create an API key at the Google's end first, and then download this API client key into your system. And go to your downloads folder, and then write SEO Man auth, which is authentication. And after then you complete the authentication, you will see a confirmation message with a small ad. And then you will see when you write SEO Man sites, and you will see all the sites that you have a permission in your search console. And if you just write -- help, you can see all the commands. It might seem like a bit complex, but if you just open your terminal and follow with me, or after then this session, you will see that it is very easy to do. So when you complete the installation of SEO Man, you will see the authenticated sites, as I say to you. And let me just check the available commands. And I'm saying that, okay, I want to create and run my query. And I'm saying that SEO Man query, and writing seo.org with starting SC domain, because it's site-wide domain. In some properties, you need to write something like this. And I'm starting date and specifying starting date and end date, and how deep dive I should be in the data, which index, and the format. Actually, you can even make this in XLSX2, XLSLX2, and then you can also choose the data granularity. Actually, I prefer daily data. So in this case, it took like 15 minutes to 20 minutes according to your account size, and I make those parts faster for you. And as you can see in here, the system is automatically fetching the data for each day and the top 25,000 of rows directly from the Search Console. And then it creates a CSV file that you can easily open in your Excel. But in some cases, for example, I'm checking the word count by line, and I mean that how many millions of data I will see in this document. You will see that 4.5 million just returned for Zeo, and okay, Zeo gets lots of traffic, but imagine an e-commerce website. So how big it could be. So in this case, we are, I think, ready to upload the data into BigQuery. As you can see in here, we have a very large data in our hand. And then what we need to do is that going to the BigQuery and then creating a new data source, actually. As you can see right now, I'm just saying create new data set. I can just name it randomly, and I'm trying to write something randomly in here too. And I have created something like workshop Digitalzone. You can choose whatever you want. For the GDPR related things, you might prefer to use EU, but it is not some sort of spatial user data. So after done that, you can just import your data from your Google Drive, which makes it very easy. So I make the data public, and I'm saying that upload from Google Drive. Actually, the Drive is the better way. So it just gives me a warning and saying that you need to write with OpenID. So I'm just deleting the non-ID related stuff, and then it is ready to upload. Actually, I'm just naming the thing. For example, I'm importing Home Depot, and I'm saying that it is a tab separated data. For example, it is just an import from other topic from the second case, but you can always import the data by following this way. And after then doing that, you can just go to the Google Sheets and choose the data collectors, and then choose a BigQuery, and then choose the Search Console if it is something that we have created before. And for the previous example, I give another naming, but this is exactly the same way of doing this. Okay, as you can see in here, I have collected all the data from my Search Console, and then imported this data into my BigQuery. And then my Google Sheets and BigQuery is integrated right now, so I can play with my data freely. So this is some sort of data. You can do great things with pivot tables because it's a raw data. You can just see each day how many traffic that I get through SEO Awards keywords through Belarus and the desktop device, by how many impression, click, CTR, and my position. And this is something that you can do great things. But I will not stop in here and then show you some of the dashboards that I have created by playing with this data with just in a single hour. You can do many things if you spend just a day to this system. So everything you did in here is just an SQL query behind of the system. For example, we have chosen the keys for area, which is country. I said that which is not equals to Turkey. I'm just looking for all non-Turkish traffic and how we gain those traffic, which keywords, etc., etc. You can just make your filters, and it might be a contains filter. It might be, if it's an integer, higher or lower filter, and you can do many things by just following this. But the great thing is that the pivot tables, you can do exactly the same approach like we did in Excel. And you can just choose your rows, which will be pointed in the y-axis and which will be pointed in the x-axis, which is values actually. And so also how those values should be distributed. Actually, what I choose in here is that I'm just taking the keywords, the keys 1, actually it was a keywords, and the key 0, actually it is just the date part and the clicks. As you can see in here, I can just change the sort by following sort parameter, and I'm saying that just sort it by the grand total. And every time I need to click apply because it creates a new query. As you can see in here, I can see every keywords, monthly performance for all devices and all countries. Actually, I can create as much as a single dimension or third dimension into this data by just adding something into the rows, which is a very powerful, especially for large websites. So I can also do many things that I have faced in my agency career. For example, some of our clients are looking forward to get the data quarterly. Actually, aggregating those data quarterly is not very possible in the default format of Search Console. That's why we are doing a quarterly aggregation in the keys column. As you can see, year quarter is selected in here, which is a very powerful. As you can see in here, I think. Yeah, we have many options in here. You can use those options directly and make your life easier. Actually, you can also use those options in your sort part too. So let's see another example. For example, you can just create a tool like this. I'm just taking the URLs and all the keywords goes to those URLs actually. So there are some Turkish keywords, but I will make it easier for you. But I have chosen for each year quarter, I want to see which keywords bring traffic to pages. For example, we have a page where we feature the social media tools, which is very old article. And I'm applying a conditional formatting in here. And by just doing this, it features where the keywords have less ranking than the others. So for all the yellow and the green sides are actually opportunity for me. Actually, our thing is about social media tools, but the other ones like social media apps, social media management, social media accounts, social media softwares, and it helps me to understand where I show less performance, and then by following those keywords and understanding contexts, and I can do a content optimization by using my own data, which is an amazing thing. In addition to this, for the large websites are dealing with a cannibalization problem, and in here we are doing the reverse analysis of the previous one. I can see that which keywords get more traffic through the same keyword actually. For example, in here, let's see what we have in here. Content creation, we have a content creation service page, and in the Zeo TV, we have a video about the content creation. It creates a cannibalization actually. And I can see where I get the traffic from each quarter. And then if it is something shifting between of those dates, I can easily say that it may be a candidate of cannibalization. So I think that is very useful to use by everyone. That's why I have prioritized at the first. But the second one, I think, is that is a bit valid for the large enterprises. And if you have any clients as an agency, or if you are working for a large brand, it may be more useful to use SQL in here because doing this thing also possible by Excel. But at this scale, it is not possible. Let me show. I get Wayfair as an example. I don't have any organic relation with them. I hope that it's not a problem for them. So in the Wayfair, I want to export all those 7 million keywords because I want to make a comprehensive analysis in here. Ahrefs helps me to compare all those keywords with their previous rankings, which is a new feature. I think it's very powerful feature and hurting a rank tracker business into the heart. But I think that it could be useful with BigQuery to create your own light rank tracker. Actually, I want to export this 8 million keyword, but Ahrefs says that you can just make 100,000 keyword at the maximum. So in this case, we can make some workarounds in here. For example, what if I just extract the keywords at only first position? It will be less than 7 million, maybe less than 100,000 too. What about just extracting the third positions? What about just extracting the fourth positions? And then if I just split the data through the positions, I can get maybe lesser slices than 100,000. In this case, if I download each of them, it means that I can reach the 7 millions of data. But in here, as you can see, just the keywords at the fifth position, still more than 100,000. And in this case, I'm saying that, okay, I will just get the shorter ones, 1 or 2 word count. And also iterating this to the next numbers, like 5 to 99, 3 to 4. And then, as you can see in here, we are just seeing some sort of new numbers, maybe less than 100,000. Yes. As you can see, we can just directly download this without any limitation, and you can complete the thing like this. But the thing you need to know is that, which is wrong in here, I have chosen the UTF-16. You need to choose the UTF-8, which is very crucial. Sorry for the mistake. So it is boring. I know it. Doing this for 100 times is really boring. That's why I have created another mini tool like this. Thank you for the inspiration, Tevfik Mert, one of my teammates. As you can see in here, when you copy and paste a link in here, and then you can just create lots of positions URLs, and then just copying and pasting those positions will help you to slice and dice data, actually. And then, as you can see in here, we have 10 different tabs. I can just trigger those tabs from URL opener, and which is very easy. But if you have any solution where you need to also delimit them by words lengths, you can also specify by parameters, and we are providing links to you, and then you can just create them into the new tabs. So it is not very easy, I know it, but I can just do the 10 minutes. I can export all the rank files of Wayfair. But after that, I have 100 files all about maybe Wayfair. How to merge those files if I can't open them in Excel, which is very easy, as my previous Digitalzone topic was directly related with it. You may want to watch this video in YouTube, but it is very actually easy. I'm saying that get all the CSV files and redirect the output to create.csv, like homedepot.csv. As you can see at the left side, it creates the file automatically according to my commands, like I do in here. So I can do the same thing for the other platforms too. So after that, I will have single file for each competitor and for myself too as a Wayfair. As I shown you before, we are just directly importing those files as CSV to the BigQuery. We made this process, that's why I'm skipping. And then we are also connecting these sheets easily with the BigQuery. Let me do it. I'm choosing Digitalzone, the workshop section, and then I'm choosing the brand and then saying connect. It will be completed in under maybe 10 seconds or 15. So it is very easy. Then you can use this data and do whatever you want to do. So it is a great opportunity. In here, I want to make a different stuff like this. For example, a cannibalization check. As a Wayfair, for example, I'm comparing myself with the previous month. Let's see that whether my previous URL and current URL, if one of them is changed, I may call them as a cannibalization candidate. That's why I'm saying a new if statement in here, like I do in Excel. which is not SQL query, which is just direct spreadsheet formula. If the previous one equals to the current one, it means that's 0, no problem. But if it is 1, it means that the URL is getting changed. It may be a flag of cannibalization. So as you can see in here, there's one more new columns in here, which describes cannibalization candidates. And then when you check those keywords, we can easily see that one of them is related with statues and those one is not. So it's just like a regular search problem for most of the e-commerce companies. So they are trying to get data through the search pages too by optimizing them directly. So as you can see in here, nearly 700,000 keywords are candidate for cannibalization, which might be a serious issue. And even doing this by Excel is not possible because we can't even open the data in the Excel. But we can see millions of keywords in here and then do these things in few seconds. So we can also extract this data to Excel, which is a great option, I think, because you can also do your VLOOKUP thing, your own favorite Excel formulas by extracting this data out of the Google Sheets too, connected sheets too. In this case, I'm choosing some of the related columns in here and redefining which lines where I need to include, and I'm also filtering. I can also do filtering in here as I don't had at the first stage. As you can see, there are lots of zeros in here, but if I just add filter through this part by saying that cannibalization equals to 0, it means that my data will be changed and I can see all the cannibalization problems in here. So it is a very nice opportunity for pointing out cannibalization. Also, merging tables are possible by join queries in SQL, which is made by a custom query. It feels like lots of thing in here, but it isn't. I will show to you, and you will just change selected parts, the names, and then you can use directly my own SQL join query. And sorry, thank you, Fatih, for helping me to do it. And in this query, actually, it feels like a complex one, but it is very easier one actually. Those parts just show which columns should be shown in the table, and those ones also show the relation. Actually, it says that if the Wayfair's keyword equals to IKEA's keywords, and then you can join them. We are showing the join rules actually. What you need to do is that just changing your project name, workspace name, and table name, and use it directly in your own system. Actually, it's the first part, it's the second part. I can't just show them in the same slide deck, that's why. So my terrible drawing skills, I remember it again. I think I have 5 more minutes. I want to show something more. In this case, I'm trying to do something different. Most of the e-commerce sites have pages like search PHP, like we can see in here, it's called keyword PHP. The search pages, they want to monetize the keywords where they don't have relevant category pages. Maybe it's red dresses, but if they don't have any color filter in their systems, in this case, red becomes just search term, like you see in here, lots of terms in here. So it is not a best practice actually, and also managing those pages and they writing titles for them is a real challenge, because programmatically we can't write them because we don't know about them too. So in this case, I'm extracting those keyword PHP URLs and then their relevant other websites, the competitor URLs too. And then I can also make a comparison by just using the title extractor module of Google Sheets. So to make this happen, actually, I need to go to other parts and create another extracted sheets. And then by following this sheet, I can just extract their environment too. So I don't want to make this part very long. That's why I will skip this. Just let me change it. Yes. Uh, Let me go through this. For example, you can see in here lots of weak titles, which is written by Wayfair. There are some of them great alternative comes from Crate and Barrel. And for example, I will show some of them directly. For example, they are just using home decor as a direct part as a in here, but it's just about the picture frames and photos and wall art. And Crate and Barrel doing great job in here. So in here, it's not also very explaining. It's not AY component. It's TV stands maybe. And also in IKEA, we have seen that some of blog examples just created problems in here. So you can do many analysis like this, and also using titles is a nice option too. And for example, you can also compare the search features too. For example, in here, I'm just doing the same thing like I do for cannibalization. And I'm saying that if the previous URL inside equals to current URL inside, then do this thing. And as you can see, I'm just created a change in here, maybe 140,000 keyword had changed their URLs. For example, it was having image pack as a search feature before, but now it doesn't have. Maybe there is a problem with CDN server. Maybe there might be a problem with their image optimization. I'm not sure about it. In addition to this, they lost lots of people also ask pages, and most of them just comes from normal pages to keyword PHP pages. At this stage, we have seen that Google think that they can't qualified enough to answer those questions. That's why promoting to the people also ask maybe. So at last, you can do simple things like this where you can filter out, you lose traffic, but your competitors don't. It might be a red flag for you for important period of time. And by doing this thing, you can create many reports. And I think that it's all from my end. My main aim is trying to create a perspective at your end to use BigQuery and how you can use this data, how you can extract this data from the other tools like the Hrefs, which allows you to download particles, but not the full of them. So we just slice and dice them to the parts. So we have extracted some data from our own tool, and you can also do this at your end. Here's a roadmap for you. First, install SEO, which is very easy, as you can see, and import to the BigQuery, and try to play with the data by pivot tables, which is very fun, I think, and you will gain lots of benefits by following this. Yes, my slide deck will be published through Twitter because this is just like 2 gigabytes. I need to upload this to the Google Slides because of the videos, and other resources will be reachable through this slide. Please follow me if you want to get those details. And If you are related with technical stuff and want to ask questions, please don't hesitate to contact with me. I will be happy to support to you. And also here is my contact information to reach me. That's all from my end. Thank you for all listeners. Hope to see you next year.
Çok teşekkür ederiz sunumun için. Hani gerçekten çok keyifli oldu dinlemesi. Bir yandan da hani ben de eski günlerime döndüm. Hani daha böyle hands-on işin içinde olduğum ve işte daha yoğun istiyorlar. Hani neler yapılabilirmiş aslında daha böyle otomatize etmek adına yapabildiğimiz vesaire gibi.
Evet, bize müşteri ilham vermişti zaten. O bağlamda biz de biraz bu işlere girişebildik. Ben de bayağıdır danışmanlıktan bir süredir uzaktayım malum işlerim sebebiyle. Ama şurayı tıklayarak ve buradaki formu doldurarak SEO'muza abone olabilirsiniz ve 3 aylık ücretsiz bir kullanım kazanabilirsiniz. Umarım beta yayına geçtiğimiz zaman bu süreci size de dahil edebiliriz diye düşünüyorum.
Yes. Şeyler var, sorular da var. İstersen ben hiç girmeyeyim, sen
Okay.
verebilirsin.
Luciano Lupu asked that, do you usually report the revenue from the non-brand organic traffic to your manager and client? Thank you for the question. Actually, it is possible to calculate revenue through Search Console by merging those two data with Google Analytics 4. Actually, I was planned to insert this into my slide deck, but I couldn't find enough time as I have 40 minutes. But you can just create a GA4 BigQuery integration, and then after then using SEO Man and collecting your data and inserting to the different BigQuery table. If you join those Search Console and Google Analytics data efficiently, I believe that you can even calculate the revenue by keywords, which is not totally accurate, but you can make very good estimations by using two of them. Thank you for great questions. Actually, we were reporting some of our clients at Zeo by exactly the same way.
You can both ask your questions in Turkish and English. Soruların hepsini hem Türkçe hem İngilizce olarak da alabiliriz. Aslında zamanımız doldu ama hani var ise hemen son bir soru daha alabiliriz. Yoksa zaten muhtemelen Yiğit'e Twitter'dan ya da işte SEO.do üzerinden farklı birçok kanala ulaşma şansınız olacaktır. Çok teşekkür ederiz. Gerçekten de eline sağlık. Bu yoğun dönemde çok detaylı ve güzel bir sunum olmuş. Zaten teşekkürlerden de. SEO'nun BigQuery ya da Data Studio bağlantısı olacak mı?
Güzel soru. SEO'nun bir Data Studio bağlantısı var aslında. Ama public değil. Yani iletişime geçerseniz aktif hale getirebiliyoruz. Yakın zamanda bağlayacağız. BigQuery için de aslında Nozzle var rakibimiz. Onlar bayağı güzel bir iş yapıyorlar. Export özelliği de sağlıyorlar. Bizim de aslında planlarımız arasında var. Ama birazcık SQL komünitesinin de dünyada da gelişmesi lazım belki bunun için. Ama Data Studio entegrasyonumuz var. Teşekkür ederiz Erdal. Her zamanki gibi nitelikli sorularınla ortama renk kattın.
Tamamdır. O zaman noktalayabiliriz. Ellerine sağlık, ağzına sağlık. Çok
teşekkür ederim.
Çok teşekkür ederim.
Görüşmek üzere. Hoşça kalın. Başarılar.